Jankantowicz. Her name sounded as jumbled as the tangle of metal in her mouth. Nice to meet you, Miss Jankantowicz. Now, boys, he said, returning to us, it's your turn for introductions. And please, offer these young ladies more than your name, rank, and serial number. An interesting fact about yourself, perhaps? Daniel Ashford started, announcing that his cat's name was Itchy. That set the trend. Peter Barson had a rabbit named Reuben. Alan Oates had a pair of guinea pigs named Peanut Butter and Jelly. Dave had a dog named Zipper. I'm Marty, I said, when it was my turn. Martin Kelso, 11 years old. I don't have a pet. What else, Martin? Mr. Harding's tone was impatient. Why don't you tell our guests something about our fine institution? All I could think about was food. Lunch was less than an hour away. Today's lunch is meatloaf, I said. Mr. Harding pressed me with his eyes. This means tomorrow's lunch will be hamburgers because no one eats the meatloaf, which means the next day's lunch will be sloppy joes because they have to finish the meat. They're good, the sloppy joes. Mr. Harding raised his hand as if to change the topic, but I was rolling. The next day it'll be something different because they can't do much with sloppy joes, although someone once said the chili dogs are just hot dogs with sloppy joes on them, basically a hot dog with meatloaf on it. I paused. Stay away from them. The chili dogs, I mean. The boys around me nodded their heads. The girls looked bewildered. Fascinating, Mr. Harding said, tugging on his beard. We finished introductions, and then Mr. Harding said he would find places for the girls to sit. He looked around the room and pointed at the girl with the mouth gear. Miss, he said, Miss... Braceface, I whispered to myself, but evidently it was loud enough for everyone to hear. I couldn't believe I had said it. I was just thinking about what I had been called when I first got braces, the way I had been teased for weeks until 2 other boys came in with braces, and what had seemed so strange became normal. When I said it, all the boys started to laugh again, even some of the girls. Mr. Kelso, my teacher said, your first demerit. Que buona fortuna. Demerits were these bright yellow note cards teachers handed out when kids did something wrong. Max got them for talking in class. Alan Oates collected them for wearing his shirt untucked. Even Dave, who never got in trouble, got one once for picking his nose in the middle of class. They really didn't mean anything unless you got 3, because then you had to get the demerits signed by your parents. I hadn't gotten any so far this year. In fact, I had never gotten a demerit. It was a point of pride for me, like being the attendance Iron Man, only 3 absences since kindergarten, or the times table titan in 3rd grade. But the day the girls arrived, I got my first demerit. It had to be their fault. I didn't want to look at Braceface, and she clearly didn't want to look at me, but as she walked to her seat, our eyes met. She didn't look defeated or upset. Her expression was determined, almost fierce, as if she were prepared to attack. I turned away and tried my best not to look at her again the whole class. Girls were invading my life at home as well. My mom's sister Beth was visiting for a few days with her daughter Evie. Aunt Beth lived in upstate New York, but she was thinking about moving to the city and had pulled Evie out of school so they could look at apartments. They were sleeping in the guest room, which shared the bath off my room. I spent every trip to the bathroom holding the door closed with my foot. When I walked into our apartment that afternoon, I found my mom and Aunt Beth in the smoky kitchen, shouting above the sound of the fire alarm. Evie was sitting at the kitchen table, turning pages of a magazine, as if nothing was going on around her. "What's that smell?" I said. "It's cassoulet," my mom said, standing on a chair to get to the alarm. Aunt Beth stirred a large pot on the stove. "It's been cooking since this morning," she added. Ever since Uncle Carl died, Aunt Beth was always into something new. 2 visits ago, it was hairstyling, and when she left, my dad and I both had crooked haircuts. The last time she visited, it was palm reading. One evening, she looked at my hand and told me I needed to stay away from alcohol and drugs, and that she saw a career in either watercoloring or gynecology. The alarm finally stopped. "It's French," my mom added, battery in hand. I nodded and turned to leave. "Marty," my mom called, "you didn't say hello to your cousin." I turned and looked at Evie, her eyes still locked on her magazine. For years, our families had rented a house together every summer on Cape Cod.